Uh, Good morning, everyone. This week Parsha is Parshas Va'era, and in this week Parsha there are many inyonim. One of the very interesting ones is the one when Moshe and Aaron came first to Paro. Actually, they came first to Paro last week Parsha in Parsha Shemos, but in this week Parsha, when Hashem said to them, you go to Paro, and if he'll ask you, prove that you are a messengers of God, do the thing with the stick that Aaron will throw, and it will turn to a snake, to a crocodile. So we'll start from this, and let's see how much we could cover out of it. Okay, so here in front of you are the psukim in Perek Zayin, in this week Parsha, beginning of the Parsha, from Pasuk Chet. ויאמר השם אל משה ואל אהרון לאמור, כי ידבר עליכם פרעה לאמור, תנו לכם מופת. Paro will ask you to prove that you are the messengers of Hashem, ואמרת אל אהרון, קח את מתך והשלך לפני פרעה יהי לתנין. So Hashem says to Moshe, tell Aaron, take the Mateh and throw it in front of Paro, and it will be tanin. Tanin, the translation to English is either crocodile or alligator. That's what Moshe was told before. Now they came, ויבוא משה ואהרון אל פרעה, ויעשו כן, כאשר ציווה השם, וישלך אהרון את מטהו לפני פרעה ולפני עבדיו, ויהי לתנין. So, one of the opinion in the Medrash says that it's the same stick that Moshe has, and that was the proof. ויהי לתנין. So, if you remember, last week Parsha, we had something very similar to this. It was by the sneh, by the burning bush, when Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, I will come to them, they will not believe me. So Hashem told him, I will give you way to prove to them. Now Moshe Rabbeinu has doubts that Bnei Israel will not believe him. So Hashem told him, I will give you few signs that if you will show it to them, they will believe you that I send you to them, to Bnei Israel. And over there was the first sign that he asked him, what you have in your hand? He said, a stick. Hashem told him, and that was there, in Sinai desert, in the sneh. Throw it down to the ground and become a snake. Now, many people do not remember the difference, and we have to realize that we're talking about two events. What we just read over here in Perek Zayin, in Parashat Va'era, is when Moshe and Aaron, are in front of Paro in his palace. The description of the thing that mentioned in Parashat Shemot speaks about what happened in the desert by the snake. Over there it says, Hashlicheu arza vayashlicheu arza vayhi lenahash. Over here it doesn't say that. It says, Vashlech lifnei paro yeh letanin. So the Torah obviously aware of the difference. Over there it says Nahash. Over here it says Tanin. So it seems like two different kind of animals, right? Snake is a snake, and alligator or crocodile is something else. But interestingly enough, if you go to Rashi here, I'll show you Rashi on this Hashlech lifnei paro yehi letanin. Rashi here says yehi letanin, tanin nachash. So Rashi says something very interesting. He said, even though it's written over here tanin, which is crocodile or alligator, no, don't make a mistake, it's the same nachash that was there. It's the same snake that was there by the snake. And obviously the question is, if so, why the Torah didn't say Nahash? Why the Torah says Tanin? And Rashi, of course, in the name of the Medrash, says Nahash. So there is something very interesting about this. Let's see what happened next. So after they did this in front of Paro, Paro was not too impressed. It says, ויקרא גם פרעה לחכמים ולמחשבים, ויעשו גם הם חרטומי מצרים בלהטיהם כן. He called his magicians, and they did the same. וישליכו איש מתהו, ויהיו לתנינים. So this trick is not really impressive in Egypt, because every magician could do this. They did the same thing. ויהיו לתנינים, ויבלע מטה אהרון את מטותם. But here come a little surprise, that the stick of Aaron that turned into a crocodile and turned back to a Mateh, swallow all the all the crocodiles of the magicians. And yet Paro, even though Paro was not impressed, ויחזק לב פרעה ולא שמע אליהם, כאשר דיבר השם. Hashem told them in advance, Paro is not going to get impressed and he is not going to listen to you, because Hashem told Moshe to bring on him all these plagues to through him prove to the world that Hashem hu ha'elokim. Now, after that was not too impressive, the Torah continues. ויאמר השם אל משה, כבד לב פרעה מאין לשלח את העם. Paro's heart is very heavy. He's refusing to send the nation. לך אל פרעה בבוקר. And here Hashem instruct Moshe Rabbeinu to go to Paro to warn him about the first makkah, which is the blood. But look at what the Torah says. ויאמר השם אל משה, כבד לב פרעה מאין לשלח העם, לך אל פרעה בבוקר, הנה יוצא המימה, וניצבת לקראתו על שפת היאור, והמטה אשר נהפך לנחש תיקח בידיך. So Hashem instructed Moshe to take the Mateh that turned into a snake, which is the Mateh referring to the story that was in Parashat Shemot, not in Parashat Va'era. And the Torah repeat over here that המטה אשר נהפך לנחש. So what we have to know is the following. In the Medrash it says, at least one of the opinion, that it was the same Mateh, the same stick. Why it says Mateh Aharon, ויבלע מטה אהרון, the Medrash says that when the stick was held by Moshe, it's called Mateh Moshe. When it was held by Aaron, it's called Mateh Aaron, but it's the same Mateh. Now, how come in the snare it turned to a snake, to Nahash, and here it turned into Tanin? So we'll answer this question, but first let's learn something very interesting that the Gemara says. The Gemara in Maseches Chulin, in Daf Kuf Kaf Zayin Amud Aleph, says the following: Tanu Rabbanan, Kol sheyesh bayabasha, yesh bayam. Every animal that exists on the ground, on the dry land, also exists parallel, something similar to it, in the ocean, in the sea. Kol sheyesh bayabasha, yesh bayam. Meaning it's like a mirror, a reflection, and there are animals on the ground and animals in the water. What's the difference between them? The difference is the following. First of all, another major thing that we have to know in principle, when Adam Rishon was created, the first mission that Hashem gave him is to give names to the animals. And Adam did it successfully. וכל אשר יקרא לו האדם נפש חיה הוא שמו. What do you mean hu shmo? He knew how to give the right name. In order to know how to give the right name, the name is a description of what this animal is all about. what's the character, what's the essence of this animal. So what we have to know that Adam himself include all the variety of characters that Hashem created. All of them are in Adam. So if in order for Adam to give the right name to the animal, he has to analyze which power is this in himself, and then diagnose this animal to see what character fit it, and according to this he gives the name. So actually, from this medrash we learn that giving a name to animal is realizing the essence, realizing the character that this animal represents. So according to this, if we go to this Gemara, Kol sheyesh bayabasha yesh bayam, there are animals on the dry land, on the ground, and in the water. It's the same philosophical, psychological character, but this one is in the dry land, this is in the water. When we deal with Mitzrayim, we're dealing a lot with water. First of all, the word Mitzrayim itself, including the word Maim, Mitzrayim. There is the other letter, Mem Yud Mem, Maim. And we know that the Egyptian was worshipping the Nile River. The reason is Mitzrayim, Egypt, is geographically is in a very difficult place. It's near Sahara Desert, and no rain there, no water there. The only thing that could give them ability to exist is the Nile River. Without water, the Nile River is the one that make around the river a place is green, and you could have food, you could have grass over there because of the Nile River. Therefore, the Nile River is the god of Egypt. God meaning power, that give them a power. So, we will see later on that in the Haftarah of this week, from Yechezkel, Paro says, Li ori va'ani asitini. The Nile River is mine, and I did it. I did myself. That's a quote from Yechezkel. So, the first Makkah and the last Makkah was in the water. The first Makkah was the dam, the blood, that the Nile River turned into a blood. And the last one, and I do not mean Makas Bechoros, I'm talking about drowning Paro and his army in the Yam Suf. So the last Makkah, that the final one, was also in the water. So the first Makkah was the blood, the last one after Makas Bechoros was drowning Paro and the Egyptian army in Yam Suf. Now, why water? What's the story of the water? In a way, it's very interestingly connected to last week's Parsha. I don't know if you heard about this. Maybe your special teacher of last week spoke about this. I'm not sure. About Moshe. The name of Moshe is Moshe. Why? Ki min hamayim meshitiu. Because I took him out of the water. What is water? Maharal explained that water is the ultimate material. Why is the ultimate material? Every physical element in the world has a shape, a frame, a tzura. The only thing that doesn't have a tzura is water. Actually, any liquid, but water is the basic liquid. It doesn't have a tzura that's part of it. Water gets the shape of the place that it is in. Either it's a cup or a jar or a river or an ocean. So there is no tzura. Now tzura is the non-physical dimension of the thing. The physical is the material itself. The shape of it is not physical, it's spiritual. It's non-physical, let's say, spiritual. In a way, it's spiritual, but I don't have time now to go explain why. So water is the ultimate material. The philosophy of Egypt was ultimate material. That was Egypt. Therefore, when Moshe was by the sneh, he held the Mateh, the stick. This Mateh called Mateh HaElokim, the stick of God, the stick of Hashem. So Hashem asked him, what do you have in your hand? What are you holding? He said, a stick, a Mateh. Throw it down to the ground. It became what? A snake. What is the snake? This snake connected very much to the first snake that mentioned in the Torah, which is Nahash HaKadmoini, that caused Adam and Chava to sin, the first sin, Chet Adam Arishon. Now, what are the words of the Nahash? And that way we will understand what is the essence of the Nahash. The words of the Nahash then, by Adam and Chava, are the following. Af ki amar Elokim lo tochlu mikol etz hagan. I'm telling you, eat from etz hagan. So what is the Nahash? The Nahash is to do just the opposite of what Hashem said. Hashem said something, I'm just telling you, do just the opposite. Af ki amar Elokim. Even though he said, ignore him. Therefore, in the Kabbalah, the Nahash called the Sitra Achra, the other side of the truth. Hashem is the truth, Hashem Elokim Emet, and the Nahash is just the opposite. So what was the sign that Hashem gave Moshe? Take the stick, which represents the ruling of Hashem on the world, Mateh Elokim. From where Hashem running the world? From the Shamayim. Yoshev b'Shamayim. Hashem Kivyochol sit in the sky, right? Take the stick, which representing the ruling of Hashem, and throw it down to the ground. When you throw it down to the ground, it will turn into a snake. And the snake is just the opposite of what Hashem says. Now, what happened there, if you remember? When it turned to a snake, Moshe Rabbeinu ran away from it. Run away from it. Okay. Not just because snake is scary, because snake could bite and you could die. It was much deeper. Moshe Rabbeinu himself is the tzura of the world. Moshe Rabbeinu is the Torah. Torat Moshe. Ground or material is just the opposite. So when you throw it down to the ground, it becomes just the opposite of the tzura. It's the ultimate material. It's the snake. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu ran away from it. Hashem told him, don't worry, and don't be scared of it. Go run after the snake and hold him in his tail. Echoz biznavo. Zanav is a tail. The tail is the end of the snake. Echoz biznavo. What happened when Moshe Rabbeinu held him in his tail? It became a stick again. It's become a stick again, and then Moshe Rabbeinu could live with this. There's no more snake. The way to overcome the snake is to hold him at the end of it. This is something very, very deep. We'll get to this later. How and why, when you hold the snake at the end of it, it's become snake. It's become a stick again. Anyways, that was there in the desert by Har Sinai, by the snake. Now they came to Egypt. What is Egypt? Egypt is water. Is Meitzar Yam. Mitzrayim is Meitzar Yam, is Yam, which a water that surrounding and holding and sealed. Meitzar Yam. It's a tzara. It's a very narrow place that all surrounded by water. What is water? Water is the ultimate material. Now, when they came to Egypt, Hashem says, throw it. And it will not be a snake, it will be a crocodile. or alligator. Crocodiles and alligator lives in the water. So, כל שיש ביבשה יש בים, meaning there are also water snakes. But here we're talking about the tanin. Actually, we're talking about the definition of it. So the tanin, even though it's a different animal, but it's like a snake and it's in the water. What happened when the snake is in the water? He's much more dangerous. Why? Because the water is the ultimate material, and the snake is the one who wants to convince people, separate between the spiritual and the physical, and live in the physical. So when you have a snake in the water, which is the tanin, which is the crocodile, he is much more dangerous because he is in his homeland, his home place. He feels very safe and sure in its place. So the tanin is even more scary. But this tanin became a snake, and as a snake, he swallowed all the other. This tanin turned into a stick back, and as a stick, he swallowed all the snakes or the taninim that was there. Swallow them, meaning he overcome them. This is the meaning of what happened. Okay, let's continue. When Moshe by the snake did this, Hashem showed him this thing about the snake, about the stick that turned into a snake and back to a stick. Hashem told him later on, take this Mateh, ואת המטה הזה תיקח בידיך, אשר תעשה בו את האותות. Take this stick to Egypt, because you're going to do with this stick everything that you're going to do. The Makos and Kriyas Yamsuf, and later on Milchemes Amalek. אשר תעשה בו את האותות, it's not just the otot that you're going to show Bnei Israel or Paro. It's everything. This Mateh represents the overcome of the spiritual over the material. Okay. And later on, it says over there in Parashat Shemot, ויקח משה את מטה האלוקים בידו. Here it's become Mateh HaElokim. This Mateh, the stick of God that represent Hashem. Now, let's see the Medrash. When Hashem says to Moshe, tell Aaron, throw the stick, it will become a crocodile, a tanin. Says the Medrash, והשלח לפני פרעה יהיה לתנין, מה ראה הקדוש ברוך הוא להקיש מלכות מצרים לנחש? So the Medrash assuming that it's representing something. When you take the holy stick, which is the ruling of Hashem of the world, and throw it down to the ground, it will become a snake, which is just the opposite. So what actually was the idea over here to show to Paro? The snake represents Egypt, and the snake represents the kingdom of Paro on Egypt. And that's what the Medrash says. מה ראה הקדוש ברוך הוא להקיש, to make analogy between Malchus Mitzrayim, the king of Mitzrayim, the kingdom of Mitzrayim, to a Nahash. Listen to the answer. מה הנחש מעוקם? אף מלכות מצרים מעקמת דרכיה. And here is very, very interesting. What is a Nahash? Let's go back to the first Nahash. The Nahash HaKadmoini. This Nahash that made Adam and Chava, convinced them to do against what Hashem says. So what we have to know, that this Nahash was used to look different than what we know in the beginning. Because after the sin, Hashem cursed the Nahash, and he told the Nahash, Al gechoncha telech. You will walk on your belly, not on your legs. Says Chazal. So, we could understand from that that before the sin, the snake has legs. Nitkatsetsu raglav. Hashem cut off his legs. Now, could you use your imagination? Imagine a snake with legs. Like a big crocodile with legs. I don't know, it looks like maybe a dinosaur. Maybe, right? So, the first snake was with legs. Hashem cut off his legs. And what happened? Now, no legs. If a person or animal has a legs, they could walk. If the snake doesn't have legs, how the snake will go from one place to the other place? On the belly. How on the belly? So there are a lot of muscles in the snake, and what actually he's doing, he's going this way. He's not going straight. He's going in his belly. He's pushing himself to the left, then to the right, then to the left, and the right, right? So therefore the Nahash me'ukam. A Nahash me'ukam, meaning it's twisted. It's going this way and that way and this way and that way. Af malchut Mitzrayim me'akemet drachea. You could not trust the Egyptians. And we saw it during the Makos. At certain Makos, Paro says, okay, I'm going to release you. Just take away this Makkah from me, right? And then, after the Makkah went away, he said, no, you're going to stay. I'm not going to let you go. That is the meaning of me'akemet drachea. They're not straight. They're saying this thing and then they say the other, like the Nahash. He goes to the right, he goes to the left. By the way, very interesting connection between the word Nahash, snake in Hebrew, is Nahash, and the word lenachesh. What's lenachesh? To guess. When I want to know something, but I do not know, I don't have the information, so I'm guessing. Guess is, I could try this. Oh, it's not, okay, let me try other thing. And it could be something and just the opposite of it. That's exactly what the Nahash, lenachesh in Hebrew, to guess, and Nahash, snake, is the same idea. Why? I'll go to the right. Doesn't work, I'll go to the left. Doesn't work, I'll go back to the right. This is the way the Nahash goes. So this is the connection between lenachesh, to guess, and Nahash, which is snake. But anyway, this is Mitzrayim. Ma Nahash me'ukam af malchut Mitzrayim me'akemet drachea. לפיכך אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה. Therefore Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, כשם שהנחש מעוקם, the same way the snake is twisted and going that way and this way, אף פרעה מעוקם. You have to know who you're dealing with someone that you could not trust. They are not straight. כשיבוא להתעקם, so Hashem says to Moshe, when you will come to him and demand from him in the name of Hashem to send the Jewish nation out of Mitzrayim, he will try to מתעקם, to go twisted you. אמור לאהרון ויתלה את המטה כנגדו. Tell Aaron that will show him the Mateh. כלומר, מזה אתה לוקח. Now what is the major difference between the Mateh and the Nahash? This exact thing. The Mateh is straight and the Nahash is twisted. Now, philosophically, we have to understand. When you have a straight line, like the Mateh, straight, you could stand over here in this end and see all the way straight to the other point. And this is emes. To see the thing from the beginning to the end straight. Nahash is just the opposite. You could not, if you go to one side of the Nahash, either the head or the tail, you could not see the other side. It goes this way, that way, this way, that way, meaning this is the lie. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. You could not see straight. So the Nahash was the emes, and the snake represents the sheker. the thing that you could not see from the beginning what the end is. This is, Nahash is me'ukam. Now I want to show you something really deep about this snake and stick from the Sfas Emes. This Sfas Emes is very, very deep. Let's try to read it and translate the main ideas slowly. Says the Sfas Emes here in this week's Parashat. B'inyan Mateh yehi letanim. Right? Hashem says to Aaron, Hashlech lifnei Paro, throw it in front of Paro, it will become a tanin. Uva midrash, and this is the midrash that I just showed you, shehukshu malchut Mitzrayim lenachash. The malchut Mitzrayim are twisted like the snake. And says the Sfas Emes, if you go back to Parashat Shemos, vayashlicheu arza, vayanos Moshe mipanav, it's become a snake, and Moshe Rabbeinu ran away from him, and Hashem told him, don't worry, echoz biznavo. Now I told you before that we have to understand how when you hold the snake at the tail of it, it will become back a stick. Listen to this. This is by itself. This point by itself is amazing. The snake is the one who offers you alternative to the truth. As I said before, even though Hashem said don't eat, I'm telling you, yes, eat. So he always offers the opposite of the truth. Now how, you know what, let's just concentrate on the concept of free will. Bechira chofshit. What is a free will? Free will is always between two opposites. Real free will. It's between two opposites. What are the ultimate opposites? Emes and Sheker. Now I want to ask you a very, very big question. How could we have free will between Emes and Sheker? Let me give you an example. I'll put in front of a normal logic person 2 cups of water. And I'll inform this person, I'll say, in the right cup you have clear, healthy water. In the left one, you have the same clear, healthy water, but it's not that healthy because it's mixed with very strong poison. There is something more than these two opposites. Okay? So I'm making this person aware. Here's the water with the poison. Okay. Now free will. Please choose. There is any free will here? If the chooser knows exactly that the other thing is poison, will be no doubt, will be no dilemma here, right? So there is no free will. When you know for sure what is the positive, how positive is the positive, and how negative is the negative, why will you choose the negative? Why anyone will choose the negative? So that makes the big question about any free will. Free will is always between two opposites. One is positive and the other is negative. So how people could even have doubts? So here's the thing. In order for the negative to be an alternative to the positive, it has to be, at least at the eyes of the chooser, equivalent. How they will be equivalent? I'll tell you how. It seems stupid, but this is the way it is, and it works. I'll tell the chooser, listen, this is poison, but it's wrapped with a very delicious candy. So it's worth. What do you mean? After I finish the candy, I'll get to the poison and then it will kill me. Don't think about it. Enjoy now. Forget about the poison. It seems so stupid. Could work only on a very not intelligent little kid that doesn't have any brain. And whatever directing what to do is the tongue and is the taste. And he doesn't even think about the poison. But let me tell you something. This little undeveloped kid is each one of us. And it works. It works. When a person do Aveira, usually they know exactly that it is in Aveira. So how come you do it? It's yummy. Sounds stupid, but that's the way it works. And it works on the vast majority of the world. What is the right way, after we are aware of this, what is the right way to overcome the temptation of the sin? This secret is the secret that Hashem told Moshe. The snake will offer you, by twisting way, many excuses why to do the wrong thing. You want to overcome it? Look to the end of it. This is the tail. Think before you commit the thing, think about the consequences. So look on the real picture all the way to the end. If you will get to the end, you will get to the poison, and then you will not do it. That's the way to make out of a snake a stick again. Make it straight. Because the entire power of the snake is the fact that he is twisted. If you will take the end of it and understand that at the end it's negative, he will never have a power over you. This is Shlach yadcha ve'echoz biznavo. Control it with your hands. The hands are the organs that with them we connected to the world. So if you control and go to the end, he will never be able to tempt you. This is Shlach yadcha ve'echoz biznavo, and it will become a stick again in your hand. Says the Sfas Emes, העניין הוא כי הגלות באה לברר התערובת טוב ורע שנעשה על ידי החטא מעץ הדעת טוב ורע. And the Sfas Emes is hinting over here to a very, very deep concepts. Let's go back to Gan Eden, to the first snake. Hashem told Adam, don't eat from this tree. What is this tree? By the way, stick is made out of wood, which is a tree. So what is this tree? This tree has two opposites in it. Tov v'ra. Good and evil. Don't deal with this, says Hashem to Adam. Come the snake and said, no, deal with it. This is good. Meaning, there is some evil in it, but it's yummy. So, to sell the evil, he used the good. This way, he convinced Adam and Chava to eat from Etz Hadat Tov V'Ra. And then what happened? Every good became mixed with the evil. And that is the kilkul. That the way the entire world was ruined by the choice of Adam to take every good and mix it with evil. And through the good, you will actually become dominant by the evil. And that was the idea of the Nahash. What is the way to fix Chet Adam Arishon? Golus. Let me explain this. It's very deep. We find out that always after a sin, the punishment is Golus. Golus meaning exile. The explanation is the following. The Mishnah in Maseches Avos says, אין לך דבר שאין לו מקום. Everything, every element could exist, physical element, could exist only in a frame called place. Everything has a place to be. How do you say place in Hebrew? Makom. The meaning of the word in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, every word has in it the entire secrets. Makom זה לשון מקיים. המקום מקיים את מה שנמצא במקום. The makom give ability to exist. That's מקיים, meaning make this thing exist. And we know that every physical thing could exist only in a place. No physical things could exist in no place. So the makom is essential in order to the thing to exist in it. What happened when a person that has a makom, and you know, when Hashem created Adam, where he put him? He put him in a makom. What was his makom? Gan Eden. Vayamicheu b'Gan Eden. He put him there, meaning this is its place. This is the place of Adam, Gan Eden. Adam sinned. How do you say sin in Hebrew? Chet. What is chet? Chet comes from the word lehachti. When you have a target and you shoot the arrow, there is only one point that when the arrow meet or hit, this is the place, this is the target. One place. There are endless option of missing the target. How do you say miss the target in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh? Lehachti et hamatara. Lehachti meaning to miss the target. This is the meaning of chet. The definition of chet, according to this, is when you put things not in their place, you're missing the target. You put it not in its place. Therefore, the punishment of the sin, missing the target, missing the place, is you lose your place. That's why galus is an outcome of sin. We find it by the Adam and Chava. They were in Gan Eden. After the sin, Hashem chased them out of Gan Eden. We find it later on by Cain. Cain murdered Hevel, and Hashem told him, now you have no place. You have to move from here to here. You have no place. The Jewish people, Hashem gave us our place. Our place is in Eretz Yisrael. But if you're not performing right in Eretz Yisrael as a nation, you lose your place. Then you go to Galus, to a place that it's not your place. So how the Galus fix the sin? It's not just a punishment for the sake of the punishment. The punishment is the tikkun. And that's what the Sfas Emes says over here. Ha'inyan כי הגלות בא לברר התערובת טוב ורע שנעשה על ידי החטא מעץ הדעת טוב ורע. עץ הדעת טוב ורע is mixing things that should not be mixed. The good and the evil. And this is the sin. This is the missing. You miss the target. Now go to exile. Go out of your place. And what happened to someone that has a place and lost the place? You know what happened? Longing. When you were in your place, you didn't appreciate it. And you didn't behave responsibly, and therefore you lost your place. Now, when you will be in no place, what happened to the person who went to exile? He has longing to the place that used to be his place. Meaning, it's just the opposite of not appreciate. Now, they appreciate it very much from outside. This is the way how galus, not just a punishment, but a fixing. Because in the galus, when you suffer in the no place that you are, and you want so much to have your right place, then you're fixing the things that cause you not to appreciate that place. But it's much deeper than this. הגלות בא לברר התערובת טוב ורע. in Galus, the good that used to have a place, but was mixed with evil, will be sent, the good will be sent to even deeper evil, very far from its place. And then it will develop the longing to go back and to separate from the evil, to go back to the place without evil. Those are the challenges of the Golus, the challenges of being in exile. So all the suffering that we have in exile is in order for us to wish very, very strong from the bottom of our heart to go back to the right place for us. That's the Golus. בא לברר את הערובת טוב ורע. דכתיב, ויגרש את האדם, says שפת אמס, וישם מקדם לגן עדן את להט החרב המתהפכת. Now look at this, להט החרב המתהפכת. When Hashem chased Adam and Chava out of Gan Eden, he put in Gan Eden, in the gates of Gan Eden, two things. את הכרובים ואת להט החרב המתהפכת. What is this? What's כרובים? Those are the guard, לשמור את דרך עץ החיים. Because Hashem do not want Adam now to be able to have access to עץ החיים. So he put two guards in the gates of Gan Eden. The כרובים and להט החרב המתהפכת. Let's explain them one by one. What is כרובים? We all know the כרובים from later on in Sefer Shemot. On the Aron, when the luchos was inside the Aron, right, was a kaporet above it, and משני קצות הכפורת was a כרובים. כרוב אחד מקצה מזה, כרוב אחד מקצה מזה, was the כרובים. And Hashem says, ונועדתי לך, I will meet you. מעל הכפורת, I will talk to you, to Moshe, מעל הכפורת, מבין שני הכרובים. From in between those two kruvim. Those two kruvim are the kruvim that are in the gates of Gan Eden. What is the role of the kruvim in Gan Eden? In Sha'arei Gan Eden, in the gates of Gan Eden? לשמור את דרך עץ החיים. What is עץ החיים? So everyone knows the pasuk in Tehillim. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכי המאושר. עץ החיים is the Torah. Now Hashem gave us the Torah. He put it in the Aron. And in the Aron there are the Kruvim. The Kruvim are the guards of the Etz HaChaim, which is the Torah. So, Adam, every human being, and especially us, Jews, feel that whatever we have here is not it. Because it's not our place. Our place is Gan Eden. Therefore, it doesn't matter how much you have and what you have, you always be unhappy because you are not in your place. So deep down, each one of us here, there is a yearning to go back to our place, which is Gan Eden. Hashem gave us, after the sin, ability to have certain, in a way, a connection to Gan Eden. What is this? The Torah. The Torah is the Etz HaChaim. That's what we're yearning for. Where is the Torah? The Torah is Ben Shnei HaKruvim, in the Mishkan, right? The Luchos, the Torah was there in the Aron. But this is only one guard. What about the other guard? What is the other guard? Lahat HaCherev HaMitapechet. Two guards in the gates of Gan Eden. The Kruvim, and we explain a bit about them, and Lahat HaCherev HaMitapechet. What is Lahat HaCherev HaMitapechet? Listen to this. Lahat HaCherev HaMitapechet. Cherev is a sword. Sword. Lahat is the blade of the sword. But this sword is not a regular sword. Every sword has something. In one place you hold it, and the other is the blade, right? This sword has two blades. There is no way to hold it. It's from two sides of the sword there are blades. And not just this. This sword is turning like a mixer. It's turning and turning and turning. This is Lahat HaCherev HaMitapechet. Says the Malbim. What's Lahat HaCherev HaMitapechet? after you have the Torah. What is Torah? Horaot, instructions, directions, Torah. תורה לי את הדרך, show me the way. Who needs instructions to show the way? Everyone in our generation heard about something called GPS. What is GPS? Show me the way. This is GPS. When do you need GPS? When you are not in a familiar place, right? You live in New York, if you go to Ohio or somewhere else, you need the GPS to know where to go, right? But if you live here and you're going from your house every day to your workplace, you do not need the GPS. You know the way. So when we need a GPS, when we do not know the way. Now you have to know. Our place is Gan Eden. When Hashem put us out of Gan Eden, we are in non-familiar place. So we need a GPS. We need instructions. What to do in this unfamiliar place. The GPS is the Torah. What if we ignore the GPS? It happened to you? When you go somewhere and you ignore the GPS, you think you trust your intuition. Vast majority of the cases you get lost. You need the Torah to know, because we do not know how to deal with this, how to deal with that, what to do. We need instructions. The instructions are the Torah. Now, after you know, based on the Torah, what to do and what not to do, you still need something else, and this is the sword. Says the Malbim, what is this sword? This sword has two blades. La'at ha'cherev ha'mitapechet. And it's like going to the operation room to take away a tumor. The tumor is evil. Take it away. This is, in the parable, Zuamas Nahash. The impurity that the Nahash put inside the body of every human being since Adam and Chava. So this is a tumor, this is an evil, this is things that should be removed. The way to remove it is by the knife of the operation. This is la'at ha'cherev ha'mitapechet. And why it's mitapechet? What's mitapechet? It's turning. It gives life to the neshama and the body by removing the impurity, removing the evil. Says the Sfas Emes, let's go back here. העניין הוא כי הגלות בא לברר התערובת טוב ורע. Since Chet Adam Rishon, there is something called Zuamas Nahash inside the person, inside the body, and it's influenced the soul also. So the Torah are the instructions, the Etz Chaim, to know what belongs and what is extra, is the tumor, is the not good things that in you. Now, what do you have to do? You should be the surgeon of yourself. How do you do this? You take the knife and cut off, and sometimes it's really hard. It's really painful to get rid of things that you got used to them. This is the להט החרב המתהפכת. Says the Sfas Emes, והוא עצמו עניין היפוך הנחש למטה והמטה לנחש. This is exactly what Mateh. Now again, something amazing about Lashon HaKodesh. How the stick called in Lashon HaKodesh? Mateh. Was Mateh. What's the meaning of the word Mateh? Mateh is lehatot. לא תהיה אחרי רבים לראות, אחרי רבים להטות. אסור להטות. להטות is to tend to one side, more to the other side. So a real judge has to do a clear, straight things, not by interest move to this side or to this side. And this is the meaning of the word mateh. Lehatot is you could go to this side or to this side. Therefore, says the Sfas Emes, the Mateh called Mateh. Because the Mateh could go to the right side, and then it's a Mateh. But could go to just the other side, which is Mateh. And then the same Mateh will become a Nahash. Will become, either it will be straight, a Mateh, or it will be a Nahash. It depends where you Mateh it, where you turn it. You tend it to this side or to the other side. This is a Mateh. So the Mateh is Sod, is the secret of Etz Hadat Tov Vara. And in the Medrash, and actually in the Kabbalah and the Arizal, it says that this Mateh of Moshe was taken from Etz Hadat Tov Vara. And Moshe Rabbeinu wants it to turn to I'm sorry, to Mateh it, to turn it to the Tov. And he had the ability to do it. Hashem told him how? Echos biznavo. Hold it at the end of it. Then it will become all good. But if you throw it to the ground, you throw it to the physical, to the ground, to the artziut, it will become a nachosh. It will be dangerous. So it's come from the same Etz Hadat Tov Vara. We have to remember that in Etz Hadat Tov Vara there is good. There is good in Etz Hadat Tov Vara. The good. But it's mixed with the Ra. What do you have to do? Separate them. Separate them, cut off by the cherev hamitapechet, cut it by the sword, cut and separate the evil from the good. And that was the story. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was sent to Paro, because Paro is the ultimate evil. By the way, Paro, I don't have time now to go to this. Moshe and Paro are just the opposite. Paro, if you take the word in Lashon HaKodesh, we're learning a lot Lashon HaKodesh today. Paro has 4 letters, right? Take the first letter and the last one, you'll get the word Pe. Pe, mouth, right? What left? Ra. Paro is Pe Ra, an evil mouth. Why? Because Paro says, Mi Hashem, asher ashma bekolo, lo yadati et asher, I don't know about him, I do not know him, I'm ignoring him. This is the Pe Ra. Pe Ra. Paro is a Pe Ra, is a very evil mouth. What stands in front of, in the opposite? Moshe. What is Moshe? Pe el pe adaber bo, umar'e velo bechidot. Moshe speaking in his mouth is speaking the Torah Hashem. Hashem, Shechina speaks from the mouth of Moshe. And therefore, when Moshe came to Paro, Paro do not want to listen because Paro is Pera. And what happened with Moshe in the beginning? And it's mentioned in the beginning of this week's Parsha also. Hashem said, you sending me to talk to Paro? Ani aral sfatayim. I could not speak straight. Paro will not listen to me. And Bnei Israel lo shamu elai, ve'ech yishme'eni Paro. I could not speak right, meaning my ability to express myself, my dibur, is in galus, meaning it's not in its place. What is the dibur? The dibur is the Torah. So, Bnei Israel lo sham'u. Bnei Israel could not accept the Torah when they were deep in the Tumas Mitzrayim. And for sure, Paro himself, because Paro is the Pera. Moshe Rabbeinu, that says in Parashat Shemos, and in this week Parsha, but in Parashat Shemos he said it this way, Lo ish dvarim anochi. I'm not a person of talking. Lo ish dvarim anochi. I cannot speak straight. Because my galus, there is a preventing. It's in galus. Something prevents me from speaking straight. So Hashem told him, don't worry about it. Aaron will talk for you. Hu yeh lecha lepeh. And in the beginning, that's what happened. Aaron was the one who speaks to Paro in the name of Moshe. But after Yetzias Mitzrayim, after we went out from the exile in Egypt, what happened? Moshe Rabbeinu not just was able to speak. There is a whole book in the Torah, all Chumash, called Devarim. Ele hadvorim asher diber Moshe. Right? That's the beginning of Chumash Dvorim. And he speaks the same person who said, Lo ish dvorim anochi, I'm not a person of talking, become now, no problem, he's talking. Because the dibur went out of the Golus. How it happened? By the Mateh. The Mateh is going this way or that way. If you put it down, throw it down to the ground, it will become a snake. And this way you cannot talk. But if you understand the secret, the Nahash, the Yetzer Hara will never be able to tempt you if you will go all the way to the end of it. Hold him at its end, at its tail, then it will become back a snake. This is the secret. And Moshe Rabbeinu did this, he was able to talk. He was able to take out the Jews from Egypt, from Mitzrayim, bring them to Har Sinai, give them the Torah, give them connection to the Etz Chaim. In this way, they will have the recipe how to overcome Paro, how to overcome the Pera, the Nahash, the temptation. So, our time is up. I mean, it's a shame because there's so much more to say, but that's what we have in this time, and that will be our share for today. And again, I'm substituting for my dear wife. I know it's not the same. Be'ezrat Hashem, next week she will go back. She will come back and give you the share. So thank you for listening. I don't know if someone wants to say something and what the custom over here. Now you could talk if you want.
Thank you so much. Hello, Rabbi Yasha Koach. This was gorgeous. God bless you and the family.
Thank you.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said water is the ultimate physical.
Uh-huh.
So how do you explain that the Be'er of Miriam, that the Be'er was in the Zechut of Miriam?
Okay.
The Be'er is not
Sure. It's not just this. It says in Yeshayahu, Hoi kol tzameh lechul hamayim, ve'en mayim el hatoiro. So it's just the opposite of what I said, right? I need at least an hour to explain this, but I'll try to do it in 1 second. The secret of this is the second day of the creation. The second day of the creation, Hashem said, Yehi rakia betoch hamayim. Will be a divider in between the water. Vihi mavdil ben mayim lemayim. And it will differentiate between water to water. And there are water who's the rakia. Above the rakia are the tzura. So the secret is the following. The mayim was not, the water that we know today is not the water that Hashem created in the first day of the creation. The first and the second day of the creation, the water has tzura. The same way any other element has a tzura. In the second day of the creation, Hashem divided the tzura of the water from the physical water. He put the tzura above in the shamayim, beyond the rakia, above the rakia, and under left the pure physical. Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen to be the one who is moshui min hamayim. He is out of the water, right? Therefore, this is his name. Ki min hamayim meshitiu, meaning he is out of the physical water. Therefore, only he could go up to the shamayim to bring us the tzura, which is the spiritual water. After he brings it to us, our job is to take the physical water and give it the right tzura, which is the mayim that above the shamayim.
Wait, so Moshe went out of the water up to shamayim to bring the tzura.
Exactly.
The tzura is the physical water?
The tzura is the spiritual. To connect the spiritual with, this is our job. To connect, to take the physical and give it the right shape, the right tzura. Meaning take it in the right proportion.
So the Be'er was the spiritual water that
Exactly.
filled them?
Exactly.
And one more question. You said that you have to look to the end and then you won't succumb to the poison.
Right.
In Pirkei Avot, it says the man who is wise sees the consequences of his actions.
Mm-hmm.
Is that taken from this idea?
It's the same thing, yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. It was
Rabbi
unbelievable.
Kalazan, it was an
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Rabbi Kalazan, it's Sharon Rosenfeld. Thank you so much. It was a superb shiur. I learned so much from it. Thank you so much. Stay well, sei gesund, be well.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. Thank you. It was unbelievably great.
You're welcome. Now you have a week to digest it to the next year.
It'll take more than that.
Yeah.
It's going to take 2 weeks. Yeah. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Is it possible to get the video of this class as well, Rabbi?
I guess so. It was recorded by, I think by, yeah, you usually get the record of this.
Okay, בסדר, so we'd love to have that. Thank you so much, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Okay.
Shavua tov.
Shabbat. Yeah. Dina, you have to open your microphone. We cannot hear you. Your microphone is closed. Oh.
אני אומרת בהצלחה עם ה-mother-in-law שלך.
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck, שהכל יהיה בסדר, בעזרת השם.
בעזרת השם.
היה מעולה, מעולה, מעולה. תודה.
Thank you. Okay.
מאוד עמוק.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
You too.
Have a good day, Rabbi. God bless you.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Yinoni,
Yes, Ivy.
I'm so glad you gave it. You gave it so much better than my trying to learn it and give it over. I didn't have it developed the way you had it developed. You made the connections much more clearly than I would have.
Mommy, והקשבת לכל השיעור?
Rubo. Meaning I was doing other things. At one time I was davening Shemona Esrei and I had it, playing in the background. My mother listened to part of it. But I was here most of the shiur.
Beautiful. Tov.
Thank you, Azza.
You're welcome, Ivy.
It was beautiful and it was Lamaisa also. It was deep, but it was Lamaisa. And all the word connections are fantastic.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.